All right, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. So, obviously, big ball game this weekend. I'm also excited. My daughter Samantha, who lives in Denver, she's going to fly out there, and she'll be at the game with some of her high school friends that she went to high school with in Denver when I was with the Broncos for a couple years. Also, you guys may not know this, but Army-Navy is tomorrow, so that's obviously a big game. Really, it's Navy-Army. We'll kind of say it that way. We lost the last three, so we got to get back on the winning streak, and obviously a big game against the Cardinals. Excited about facing them. They're a well-coached team. They fake punts. They have surprise on sides ready with their kickoff team. They do a really nice job with Pharaoh Cooper returning the ball. He does a good job bouncing it outside, trying to get to the edge with their kickoff returns. We got to be ready for a whole bunch of stuff against these guys, which makes my job a little bit harder, but it's kind of fun. I won't get as much sleep, but that's okay. You guys don't care about me or my sleep deprivation. But at the end of the day, it's a big weekend for our football team. We have a lot to prove. I think every time we go out there, a team like us, we got a bunch of young guys, especially on special teams, flying around, and we got to go out and do a great job for the most part, like we've been doing most of the year. We got to do a better job on kickoff return, obviously, but some of the things we're doing are pretty good and pretty special, and I'm excited about that. We just got to keep building.
Just kind of a general question, but Zane Gonzalez was here and he had his issues, but he's kicking pretty well out there.
Very well.
So what is it that it happens a lot of times? The kicker doesn't do well in one spot, and then like even Phil Dawson here.
I think what Zane, and I worked Zane out when he was at Arizona State, and he had all the talent in the world. Maybe he wasn't ready. Some guys, when they get to the league, they're not maybe mature enough, or they're not quite ready for the bright lights of the NFL, or whatever the case may be. I don't know what it was with Zane. I don't know him that well, but I do know he's done a very good job this year. He's well coached. He does a good job on kickoff, field goals, everything. Cleveland's a tough place to kick. I think we all know that. And I think that's what I like so much about Austin before we drafted him was his maturity level, his confidence level, and that's kind of made him fight through some of the misses that he's had, especially at home.
Do you feel like Jamie deserves Pro Bowl consideration?
No, I don't think so. No, I'm just going to be honest. I mean, I would let you know if I thought he did. I think Jamie's a very good punter. I think he's going to get better and better and better. And there are better punters than him right now out there that have performed better this year. He just got to be more consistent. Is he a Pro Bowl talent punter? Absolutely. Is he ready to be on the Pro Bowl roster this year? I don't think so. I think there's two or three AFC punters that have probably had better years than him. But honestly, we have to protect better for him. We've got to cover better for him, and he's got to perform more consistently, and we'll get him to that level.
It's a kick at the end of the game Sunday. Did Cadero do what he's supposed to do, or
No.
what are you looking for there?
Well, he was kind of the speed bump. I didn't want him. Freddie did a great job. We called timeout. He always asked me right before an onside kick. I think we've had maybe 3 against us this year. Do you want to call timeout? The other 2, they lined up how I thought they were going to line up, and they did pretty much had the same kick I thought they would kick. Cincinnati came out in something different. And so I'm looking, I said, no, let's call timeout. Freddie calls timeout. We bring the guys over. Because of the way their forces were deployed, so to speak, I had a good idea what they might do. Is he going to be a slow roller or going to try to hit it, a ricochet type kick, that's what we call it. And the last thing I told Cadero and TJ Carey is don't let the ball hit you. And, of course, he would remind you of that. And he was supposed to get out of the way. And I think he had enough time to get out of the way. And we've got, Dearness Johnson was 20, 25 yards behind and ready to recover it. So we were ready for it. And he's just got to either olay it or he's got to, try to catch it. I told him if his abs were a little bit more washboard-like mine were back in maybe when I was 25, the ball would have ricocheted back and they would have recovered it. So thank God his abs didn't have too much of a washboard. No, but TJ Carey did a phenomenal job recovering that ball for us.
As far as that 53-yarder was concerned, how did you feel about Austin heading into that? What was his range on that particular day?
I think the range going in that direction, I had told Freddie, was right at 53 to 55. It was a crazy wind. The wind was really swirling different than in most days. The good thing is on Wednesday they went down there and got some work in. The winds were a little bit different, but he gave Austin a ton of confidence. He did a great job last Wednesday. We filmed all that stuff, charted all. Watched that film with him. He did a phenomenal job last Wednesday. Gave him a ton of confidence. He had a great pregame. Going into the dog pound end, it would not have been that far. We had an incomplete pass to stop the clock, I think, with 20 seconds left in the third quarter, which gave us the chance to kick it going towards our locker room. And I would have requested a timeout there had we not gotten the first down, had we not stopped the clock. We called timeout and let him kick in that direction, which he's more confident in anyway. Man, I was proud of him. Great protection. Guys, snap, hold, and kick were perfect, and he played the wind perfectly. It kind of drew back in and went right through them, right down the middle. It was a big play for us.
Everybody was perfect going to the dog pound in Sunday.
Yeah, I know. Randy did a good job for Cincinnati. He's a strong kid, strong kicker. He did a really nice job. I talked to him after the game. He was pretty proud of himself, like most young guys are, as he should be.
But was there a reason for that?
I don't know.
It was a crazy win.
It
going the
was.
other way.
It was very crazy. You hit a true ball, it should go through. If you don't worry about it, you just go out there and I'm telling you, and I know we've talked about this before, but Phil Dawson has said, you just hit your true ball. It goes through, it goes through. Sometimes there are forces you can't control that are going to push that ball left or right. I was hoping that would happen to Randy, but it didn't.
We talked about how the rules have affected kicking onside kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had to adjust how you cover them?
For our must onside?
The
Oh, sure,
recovery
absolutely.
side of it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think, and the cool thing is, as a coach, you're always learning, you're always finding out different ways to attack certain looks. And the more tape I watch what other guys around the league are doing, I'm not afraid to not copy, but maybe take some things, take some coaching points that I see from other teams. And, Darren did a good job for Cincinnati. That was a good play. And that's another way of doing it. And we've got our way of doing things. And, but I'm always learning, always trying to get better in every phase, all 6 phases and everything that we do, whether it's field goal protection, field goal block, punt protection, whatever the case may be. But I think anytime you go into it thinking you know it all, you're going to be in trouble. So I'm trying to always learn and try to improve our team in that regard. Did I answer your question? Okay. I tried to, I promise. I wasn't trying to go around the question.
Go ahead, Mark.
When those guys go to the stadium, do they stay there long enough to get, like judging the wind and all? I mean,
Oh, sure. They're down there.
those things.
They're down there probably a good 45 minutes to an hour, including warming up and, getting used to the wind, trying to figure things out. Charlie snapping the ball into the wind, against the wind with the crosswind, and trying to keep his spiral tight. And, of course, Jamie just catching punt snaps or catching field goal snaps. We work on all that stuff when we go down there. So it's probably a good 45 minutes to an hour that they're down there.
You gotta imagine this Arizona Stadium's the most idyllic.
We're fired up about being there, I know that. So it's funny because I told our guys, I said, take advantage of that stadium, but don't take it for granted. In other words, don't go in there thinking, I don't have to worry about technique. I can go out and just do what I do, and hopefully it'll work out. No, they still need to focus on catching we need to focus on catching the field goal snap. We need to focus on snapping the ball. We need to focus on our kickoff steps, our field goal steps, all those things that we work on constantly to be successful in a windy stadium. We have to do the same thing and just take advantage of the great weather, the great venue. Good. Go ahead.
How has the attrition on defense affected you on special?
Every year it's the same. Sometimes it's linebackers, sometimes it's safety, sometimes it's tight ends, defensive ends, running backs. It's my job at the beginning of the year to make sure that we train enough guys to be ready that when the attrition does start, and whenever it starts, that we need to be ready for it. So I think the good teams that we have, and we have enough good backups that have done a nice job and stepped up and played well in special teams for us. Like Damian Ratley played 3 phases on this past Sunday. JT Hassel came up from the practice squad. He's making plays on kickoff and doing a good job for us there. So every year you're going to have guys. And if you got a good roster, you got guys stepping up. And like I said, it's my job to make sure that they're ready when their time is called. And I talk to the practice squad guys about that all the time. When your number is called, you have to be ready. And that's why I think you need good practice squad players as well to train them to be ready to play on Sundays.
Kick forever, but is Andy Lee still the same guy?
Yeah,
he was here a few years
he's
ago.
still got it. When he's got a little bit of time back there, he really bombs a good ball, and they got good gunners too. I mean, they gave up the long one against Pittsburgh last week, which I think up until that point they'd only given up maybe 4 or 5 yards of return. But yeah, I mean, I think he's having a real good year.
What is the thin air? How does it increase Syvert's range?
Is there thin air in Arizona? I had no idea. I know it's desert air. I know to be indoors. I tell you what, if they have the stadium open, there'll be a little bit of a breeze in there, and when that happens, the ball does travel a little bit better. But I think, anytime you go into an indoor stadium, you're thinking 53-yard field goal and then beyond, depending on who you're hitting the ball in pregame. And then at the end of the game, or end of the half, you might have to extend that out a little bit. I didn't know Arizona was at altitude. I know Denver is.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know about that. I try to stay away from that game.
Seems to go farther.
No, maybe you're just a great player, Tony.
Given your background, what did you think of what Jamie and his dad had going?
That
on
was
Sunday?
cool. that was real. I'd found out, Jamie had told me the week before that they were going to do that, and he's like a little kid anyway. He's even more of a little kid, and I know he's real proud of his father and what his father's accomplished in the military, and proud of his family, and I was happy for he and his dad and his whole family. I thought that was a really neat moment, and I don't know if that's ever been done before, where a father's piloting the plane that his son's playing in a game, before the game, in a pregame ceremony type thing. But I was real happy for that whole family. That was cool.